July 11th, 1943, Gela, Sicily. The U.S. 1st Infantry Division, the big red one, was on the verge of being thrown back into the sea. The Italian Livorno Division from one side and the German Hermann Göring Panzer Division from the other were attacking to crush the beachhead. This could be the moment when the Allies' first major step into Europe would end in disaster. Everything was hanging by a thread. And in the middle of all this chaos, the man who should have been at the command post was wandering the front lines. They called him Terrible Terry. But what was a general doing at the front while his division was being destroyed? Was it reckless madness, or the only path to victory? Major General Terry de la Mesa Allen Jr. was not the kind of man the Army hierarchy liked. He was a West Point graduate, but he hated rules. Aggressive, loud, and reckless, his superiors constantly complained about his lack of discipline. His division, the big red one, had won the war in North Africa, but had also become infamous for brawling in towns after victory.
Patton once said of him, "Terry's men know only how to fight, not how to live in a garrison." Allen's response summed up his entire philosophy. "Of course they do. I trained them to kill the enemy, not to follow garrison rules." His men worshipped him, because Allen understood the private in the trenches better than the bureaucrats in Washington. He hadn't built a division that fought for its generals, but a general who fought for his soldiers. And now, in Sicily, that brawling division would have to determine the fate of the entire Allied invasion. Operation Husky began on the night of July 10th, the invasion of Europe. Terry Allen's 1st Division was to land on the dime beach at Gela. The first day passed with a deceptive calm. The Italian coastal defenses were quickly overrun, and Allen captured the town of Gela. He immediately set up his headquarters on the beach. Victory seemed easy. But that was the first step into the trap. German commander Kesselring was waiting for the Allies' weakest moment, those first 48 hours when they were just trying to establish themselves. The American beachhead was still shallow, supplies were slow, and heavy weapons were scarce. Kesselring sent his best forces, the Hermann Göring Panzer Division and the Italian Livorno Division, straight toward Gela. Their objective was simple: to drive the Americans back into the sea. And on the morning of July 11th, the gates of hell opened. This was one of the most chaotic, multi-domain battles of World War II. On land, the panzers were advancing. In the air, the Luftwaffe had seized superiority. The American infantry could not stand against armored power. Inside the town of Gela, Colonel Darby's elite rangers were making a desperate defense, street by street, building by building. The only hope was at sea, the Navy, USS Boise and USS Savannah. But there was a problem. The German tanks had advanced so close that they were almost intermingled with the American soldiers. If the Navy opened fire, it would mean killing their own men. The voice on the radio gave one of the riskiest orders in history. "Open fire. Coordinates. I repeat, danger close. Fire within 1,000 meters of our own positions." This was a complete violation of normal safety protocols. The cruiser's 6-inch shells began shredding the panzers like paper. The sea was saving the land. But the front line was still collapsing. Soldiers had started retreating toward the beach in panic. That's when Terrible Terry entered the scene. Unprotected and armed only with his command baton, he stood in front of the panicking troops. He stopped a colonel who was retreating and asked with an icy tone, "Colonel, where do you think you're going?" The officer stammered, "We're retreating, sir. The tanks." Allen cut him off. His voice echoed across the entire beach.
"Retreat? Damn it! This division cannot retreat! The 1st Division only advances.
Now turn around and stop those tanks. In that moment, the fate of Gela changed. This was more than an order. It was the courage of one leader spreading through an entire division. The panic stopped. With naval fire roaring above them, Allen's men took up positions again.
Come on! We're not afraid!
Cooks, clerks, engineers, anyone with a weapon, to the line. The Navy's doing its job. The Rangers are doing theirs. We're holding this ground. It's a good day to die, gentlemen, but not today. By July 12th, the German and Italian counterattack had been completely broken. The beachhead was secure. Terry Allen's undisciplined brawlers had saved the Allied invasion of Europe. He had stood firm on the brink of defeat, commanded chaos in the city streets, and reminded his soldiers why they were proud to be called Terrible Terry's men. Terry Allen gave a lesson at Gela. Wars are not won by maps. They are won by people. And people follow leaders who believe in them. Despite his success, Allen's rebellious attitude and constant clashes with higher command, especially with General Bradley, led to his removal from command shortly after the Sicilian campaign. He and his deputy, Theodore Roosevelt Jr., were deemed too unruly. But history proved Terry Allen right. He returned to battle in Europe with the 104th Division, and once again, he made history. Today, when you stand on the beaches of Gela, you can still feel the chaos of July 1943, the thunder of the naval guns, and the unshakable will of Terrible Terry. Because history is not just what happened, it is the echo of the decisions made in those moments.
History cannot be rewritten, but on echoes through time, it lives again.